across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
There you are. Good evening and welcome to the Political Asylum right here on Talk. All the way to 10 o'clock. Stand by for 3 compelling hours of breaking news, challenging views and topical debate. Get on the show, get on the phone and call me on 03444991000, or you can WhatsApp voice note me on the same number and I promise to play your message out. It is Friday, October the 10th. Here's what's coming up. Everlasting peace in the Middle East, says Donald Trump, whose achievement in bringing about a ceasefire in Gaza is so immense that even the Three Stooges, Starmer, Macron and Carney, the pathetic recognisers of Palestine, have grudgingly announced their admiration of the extraordinary American president. To hell with that trio of appeasing fools who rewarded Hamas's murderous thugs with exactly what they wanted. And to hell with those ludicrous Nobel Prize idiots in Oslo who ignored their award to some South American woman who has not brought democracy to Venezuela. One member of the Nobel Committee, as this woman, who nobody has ever heard of, as I said, was swept to glory. Meanwhile, we are all still trying to work out why need not apply. 03444991000. But here's to the Donald, who forced through this still fragile peace with the sheer force of his deal-maker personality. In other news, a rare chance to agree with horrible Hamas, as its leaders put their foot down and said an absolute no to that old hanger-on Tony Blair running the new Gaza as the head of the new so-called peace board. Good thinking. With him at the helm, the guns would start firing again tomorrow. Are the Hamas thugs right to block Blair? 03444991000. Also tonight, Italy's fabulous leader Giorgia Meloni is set to ban the burqa amid a wide-ranging crackdown on Islamic fundamentalism in a bid to prevent terrorism, the kind of terrorism we saw last week in Manchester. Women caught wearing face covers in Italy will be fined €3,000. Anyone involved in virginity testing and forced marriages will face long prison sentences, and mosques will be ordered by the state to reveal where all their funding comes from. Sounds like a decent idea to me. Why don't we do the same in Britain? 03444991000. Meanwhile, not about to let a little matter of peace in Gaza get in the way of their Jew hate. Britain's pro-Palestine anti-Semites vow to carry on marching. Of course they do. 03444991000. And finally, more nonsense for new national irritant Green Goblin Zach Polanski, real name David Paulden, the latest airhead politician to insist that women can have penises. Zach says that he knows more than the Supreme Court. Yes, little Zachy, of course you do. Why don't these right-on half-wits just shut up? 03444991000. All that and so much more. So don't go anywhere. Stick with me right here, right now on Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. Let's spend Friday night together. The weekend starts here, folks, and that means my Friday friend Pete Barnes, political strategist, is in the studio. Hi, Pete.
Hi, Kev. How's it going?
All right. Well, you didn't win it.
No.
I didn't win it.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping I might get the Nobel Peace Prize,
Yeah.
but once again, I've been overlooked.
Well,
and so have you.
I was going to say, if you remember, not so long ago, the European Union won, and so therefore we are all winners at one point.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, the winner, Donald Trump, was hoping for it, let's make that clear. And, you know, frankly, it doesn't really matter about his ego. His ego is what has forced this extraordinary peace deal through. And by the way, I don't want to be pessimistic or cynical about this. Something remarkable has happened in the Middle East, in Gaza. But you know, let's be slightly cautious here. That benighted region is notoriously unstable. We're not sure how peace will be kept there so far. Hamas still sticking their feet down and refusing quite a few of Donald's 20-point peace plan. So, you know, I don't want to be, as I say, I don't want to be pessimistic, but, you know, it's not a done deal yet. It really isn't. If, as we expect, they've been told, Hamas, you've got to release the hostages by Monday morning. If that happens, I'm assuming Sunday afternoon, if they do release the remaining living 20 hostages, and I think there's 28 in coffins, if they do release them, and they release them in a dignified way, not like the showbiz spectacle they made of it last time, if they go along with that and they do release them, then I think we really start to take this extremely seriously. But even then, there's a long way to go. That said, for Donald Trump to get to this point, through the sheer force, if you like his ego, yes, he wants the Nobel Peace Prize, you know, who's going to begrudge him that if we can stop the killing, if we can stop the slaughter in Gaza? You know, let's not worry about that. It was his ego, his extraordinary personality. You might not like it, but he's a deal maker, and he made an incredible deal here, an incredible deal. And by the way, the one last thing I want to say about it is this. Do you know what this really is? This is victory for Israel. They defeated Hamas. Hamas essentially is surrendering. Make no bones about that. But let's talk, Pete, first about, you know, I'm sure I've followed Marina Corino Machado's career very closely. Marina Corino Machado, the Venezuelan's Iron Lady. She's a tireless campaigner for democracy in Venezuela. I mean, she hasn't actually achieved democracy in Venezuela, and she hasn't actually achieved any kind of power. She's the leader of their opposition, if you like. But wow, she got the deal. She got the Nobel Peace Prize. In other words, she's left-wing, and Donald Trump isn't. I mean, if you're going to tell me that her achievements in not achieving democracy in Venezuela are greater than what Donald Trump has achieved in the Middle East, then you need psychiatric help. The Nobel Peace Prize mob in Oslo today just demeaned themselves. Well, first of all, let's have a look at crazy name, crazy guy, Jørgen Watne Friednes. He's the chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee. Here he is making the announcement.
The Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 goes to a brave and committed champion of peace, to a woman who keeps the flame of democracy burning amidst a growing darkness. The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado.
Yeah! She did it! Maria did it! Wow, fantastic! Honestly, these Nobel idiots made fools of them. Not since they gave the Nobel Peace Prize to Barack Obama for no discernible reason at all have they made such fools of themselves. And here is some silly old sod from the committee, right, calling Maria Corina Machado to tell her that she's won. Now, the thing is, by the way, you get the equivalent of $1.1 million. So if Maria's around, can I give you a bell? Because I'm a bit short at the moment. Perhaps you can lend me some money. But seriously, look at this silly old sod weeping when he fights. Look at this.
And I'm calling to inform you that in a few minutes it shall be announced here at the Nobel Institute that you will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025.
Oh my God.
So warmest congratulations to you, Maria.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, I have no words. well, I thank you so much, but I hope you understand this is a movement. This is a achievement of a whole society. I am just one person. I certainly do not deserve this. Oh my God.
I think both the movement and you deserve it.
Such a fantastic moment. They should call this the Nobel Mental Institute. What the hell is it? That's ridiculous. That was, well, Pete, that was just, I think, a ludicrous snub to Donald Trump, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was, because I actually think he should have won it the first time he was president for the Abraham Accords. That was an astounding bit to get normalisation of diplomatic relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel. Like, that is just incredible. And yet, like you said, the guy who destabilised a region, launched drone attacks into 8 nations, allowed the rearmament of Iran, got it, and yet Donald Trump hasn't. There's Barack Obama. Like, I do not understand the logic. And then, like you said, I suddenly realised, oh yes, I looked at the people on the committee, and of course Donald Trump was never getting that award. This was politics pure and simple, straight through. And it was just ridiculous. But I will say, though, that this woman is worthy of recognition. Like, you know, she is standing up to Venezuela, but it was quite smart of her. Yeah, it was quite smart of them, because
really don't care.
She's actually backed by the Trump administration.
Yeah, so Trump actually, Trump called her to congratulate her.
You know, and he was he didn't do it as magnanimous as he's ever going to get.
Yeah.
I think he actually handled this quite well, because it's no secret that he wanted it, but it's not like he hasn't earned it. Yeah, he has done more for the Middle East.
Of course he's earned it. It's ridiculous that he didn't get it.
It's
now,
done more for that
you know what's worse about this? The Nobel Committee, bunch of buffoons sitting there in their stupid little office and around their committee. Who the hell do they think they are? By the way, Nobel, the man who gave his name to this, is the inventor of dynamite, so he's done a lot for peace over the years, hasn't he? Anyway, this is before this extraordinary decision not to give Trump the Nobel Peace Prize. Here is the man himself speculating about the possibility of winning.
How do you rate your chances of winning the Nobel Peace Prize tomorrow, personally?
Well, I don't know. Look, I made 7 deals, and now it's 8. Solved the wars, one going for 31 years, one going 34 years, one going 35 years, one going 10 years. I made 7 deals. This would be number 8, the one I thought that I was going to make, and I think we will probably.
Yeah, I mean, this was them playing the man. They didn't want to give it to Donald Trump because he's not their kind of a guy.
It would also be an admission that everybody who is their kind of a guy was wrong.
Yeah.
Because those kind of people have been trying this for decades, and he's got further in in a year and a bit.
Well, exactly right. And today, you know, the Three Stooges, Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron, and Mark Carney of Canada, they reluctantly, you could tell, really reluctantly, did issue their praise of the president's achievements. Now, our guy, Two-Tier Keir, our supreme leader, soon he will give us digital ID cards. Show us your papers, please. There seems to be some discrepancy. Come with me. That's the vision that our supreme leader has for the country. He said he hailed the Gaza deal as a relief to the world. France's pipsqueak President Macron called the ceasefire a great hope, and Canada's Mark Carney gushed, "It's a day for optimism." Now, meanwhile, our Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper's contributions to the celebrations was to announce that Britain would not be involved in any peacekeeping force. And I'm going to give credit, you won't often hear me do this, credit to good old Labour veteran Emily Thornberry, who told Times Radio earlier that if Trump's peace plan succeeds, she said, "I'll wear a MAGA hat." So at least she got into the spirit of it.
We should all campaign harder than ever.
Yeah.
Like, can we all get behind this deal just for that image?
Exactly.
Just to see that woman forced to do that. I mean, it would be hilarious.
But I thought that was quite gracious of her.
Yeah.
She at least conceded that Trump had done something quite extraordinary here. Let's talk about another element of this, Hamas's refusal. So there's this 20-point peace plan. Now, basically, none of it is really going to be discussed until they release the remaining 20 living hostages and the 28 who were sadly in coffins, and there'll be no showmanship like the last time they did it. At least that is the deal. They have to release those remaining hostages alive and dead with dignity. Now once they do that, then they start talking Turkey about these 20 points. But Hamas have already made it absolutely clear that it's a deal breaker if Trump imposes Tony Blair on them. The idea was that Tony Blair would lead what they call the peace board, kind of peace, but to basically govern Gaza in its transition to, kind of self-rule to an extent. Anyway, Hamas said, no way, Jose, no, we're not having that. And by the way, Blair, just go away. Leave us alone. Retire with your hundreds of millions of pounds. Just go away. Why would you bring him back? This is the guy that years ago was appointed. After he quit as Prime Minister, he literally segued straight into a job called Middle Eastern Peace Envoy.
Yeah,
how did that work out?
I know, it's incredible.
He did well, didn't it?
Yeah,
got lasting peace.
Yeah, it's annoying this week because I've agreed with Hamas, and I'm also going to agree with Ash Sakar because she said the only reason he got it was Satan wasn't available. I know it's a great line, I have to admit, but they are bang on. In what world did they think he was the the person to do it? And again, Hamas have a very fair point that, if this is going to be a peace deal, it's got to be done by the Palestinians, it's got to be done by the Israelis. It's their peace deal. What's interesting is the way this is being framed as Trump's deal, Trump's peace. It's not. It's peace between Hamas and Israel. He's brought them to the table. They're framing it this way, so if it collapses, it's Trump's fault. That's to me what they're doing.
I mean, he's owning it. That's why he's flying there on Sunday. I mean, he wants to be. He is calling the shots. Yes, they're doing what he says. So I think you're underplaying his role here. And the Hamas mob are not going to be allowed to run Gaza, obviously. That's why this is a surrender. This is what we're seeing here. In a kind of nuanced way, is a tremendous triumph for Italy. Yeah, them too. We're going to talk about that in a minute. A tremendous triumph for Israel. Israel has won. Hamas is surrendering. And therein lies the problem, because Hamas don't like the idea of being humiliated. So the one thing they're putting their foot down about is Tony Blair. They don't like Tony Blair. And I suspect that Donald Trump will go, well, all right, we'll get someone else.
Yeah, I don't think
he won't let that be a deal breaker.
Of course he wouldn't. And to be honest, I think he would probably rather prefer it his person. He'd rather like his guy in there. But I will say that I think this is a phenomenal effort by Trump. But my big fear is the release of these hostages. The world will be watching, and it is, like you said, it is a big theatre, and something could happen. That's my fear, is that this is being used as a spectacle. And
if they make a spectacle of it, then the deal breaks down. I suspect that they won't, but we need it to happen at all. And if it is to happen, I'm assuming it will be a Sunday afternoon. Or Sunday morning even, because they've been told you have to do it by Monday morning, otherwise all bets are off. There are other serious problems. I mean, Hamas, how do you quantify whether or not Hamas have actually disarmed? Will they disarm? You know this lot. Sunday morning, they're very capable of unleashing a whole volley of rockets.
It's like a little rogue element within them as well. So it's actually like the Hamas leadership has got to control their own people that they've riled up. And also, there's the other side of the issue is with Israel. They are starting to break as a government. The kind of more right and more nationalistic side is seeing this as a kind of appeasement. And so that even they're being held together. This is a very fragile moment.
Look, we've got a long way to go. But if they do release the hostages in a civilized and dignified way on Sunday. We assume it will be Sunday. That's when Trump arrives as well. Then we're in business. Then they've got to start really thrashing out this 20-point peace plan. So there's a long way to go, but you know, there's got to be cause for optimism, and in that respect, you know, all power to Donald Trump. He has achieved something absolutely astonishing here. But of course, nothing on the scale of the achievements of, let me just look this up again, Maria Corina Machado in Venezuela. Wow. Right, we're going to go to break now. Let me know what you think about all this. You know, let me know what you think about Donald Trump not getting the Peace Prize. If you're not going to get the Peace Prize for that, bringing peace to the most benighted, war-torn region on Earth after 2 years of out-and-out horrific conflict. If you're not going to get the Nobel Peace Prize for that, who the hell ever is? Ridiculous, ridiculous. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about the prospect for peace, these talks going forward. And let me know what you think about Maria Corina Machado. No, don't bother with that one. But do give us a call, 0344 499 1000. Before we go to break, by the way, I want to say that at 8 o'clock we usually have a sort of special guest. But today, because it's big news day, big news week, we thought we'd just throw open the floor to all of you. So phone Kev and Pete. We'll be answering your calls from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock. So 0344 499 1000. Look forward to talking to you all. Lots to talk about, obviously, and perhaps you might want to talk about our next item, which is the Italian leader, Giorgia Meloni, is introducing a bill to ban the burqa and to launch a huge crackdown on what she says is Islamic fundamentalism, the kind of Islamic fundamentalism that leads to terrorism, the kind of terrorism we saw in this country last week. So we'll talk about that after this break.
The way to deal with it is quite simply to detain every single illegal immigrant securely behind wire until such time as we can return them to whence they came or they ask to go back. Now, that does require significant legal changes, but this government doesn't seem to want to be fair, neither did the previous, want to take those legal, do that legal amendment, withdraw from the ECHR and so on. They didn't want to do it. It was all too contentious for them.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back with my Friday friend, political strategist Pete Barnes, and we've been talking about peace in the Middle East, or possible peace in the Middle East. I want to know what you feel about this, but what about peace in this country? You know, what we saw last week at the synagogue and the potential for more terrorism. It seems to me we've been doing a lot of stories this week about the Islamification of Britain. A lot of people very worried. Parents telling us that their kids go to school, primary schools. One guy phoned up and said, yeah, my kid went to primary school, came back and said they'd spend all day being taught how to put the hijab on. The Christian kids. A school in Wales. Got a visit from the local mosque representative who taught the kids how to pray on prayer mats. And the parents said, what's going on? Why didn't you tell us? And they said, oh, well, it's RE, it's religious education. You know, there's a lot of worry about this. And of course, more and more towns, more and more places. We did the story earlier in the week about the Rotherham mayor lady who went to Sheffield to address hundreds, a 100-strong crowd. All men, Muslim men. She's a Muslim as well. And it was in a place in Sheffield, it was in a place called the Pakistan Muslim Centre, and she spoke, and they all spoke in Urdu and Punjabi. This is in the middle of England, you know, in Britain. So there's something going on. I think people are worried about it. So what do you think of what the Italian leader, Giorgia Meloni, the conservative, small c, conservative Italian leader, Giorgia Meloni, is about to do? She's introducing a law which will ban the burqa, first of all. It will fine women up to €3,000 if they're caught wearing face coverings in public. She's also going further than that, further than other burqa-banned European countries like France and Switzerland. Remember, by the way, folks, there's quite a few Muslim countries that have banned the burqa. But France has, Switzerland has, I think there's a couple of other Austrian European countries as well. But Georgia is going further. Because she's bringing in new laws against cultural crimes, what she calls cultural crimes, such as virginity testing and forced marriages. So there will be lengthy prison sentences, maybe as long as 10 years for people caught getting involved in virginity testing or forced marriages. Georgia calls it religious coercion. Also, all mosques and Islamic education institutions will be ordered by the state to disclose every source of funding. What Meloni's bill says is the spread of Islamic fundamentalism undeniably constitutes the breeding ground for Islamist terrorism. Is Georgia right? Shouldn't we be doing this here rather than let this fundamentalism spread and spread? You know, most Muslims are like the rest of us. They're just trying to make a buck, make a living, put a roof over their heads, feed their kids, all that. But you know there are elements of our Islamic community who aren't like that. Like, for example, Jihad al-Shami, the murdering Muslim maniac who attacked the synagogue last Thursday. You know, the worry is there's quite a few Jihad al-Shamis around this country. We've got an integration problem. We've got a growing problem of Islamist fundamentalism, terrorism. Most people expect there will be more. So is Giorgia Meloni right to bring in this pretty stringent crackdown on the Islamic practices in her country, particularly wearing a burqa. Let me know what you think. 03444991000. In the meantime, let's find out what Pete Barnes thinks. What's your thought?
I think, first of all, this woman is a force of nature. She is an incredible leader. She's turned around Italy in an incredible way. I was always on the fence with banning the burqa, but I think from what we've seen here in the UK, this creeping Islamification, this is now a necessity at this point, I'm afraid.
Interesting.
I think, for me, it is one of those things where I don't like it, but because of where we are, we're going to have to start doing this because of the issues that you've just raised. This creeping Islamification, well, I don't think it's creeping anymore. I think it's marching.
It's rampant.
It's rampant. It's you know, it's a like a herd of wildebeest, really, at this point. But you know, the interesting bit for me is the way that she's gone after the funding. I think that is key, because we all know why there's hate marches, where that money's coming from. It's called Iran, and it's not done for good reasons. It's there to disrupt. It's there to cause this kind of social tension, kind of social cohesion problems. It is all deliberate, and she's right to start naming all of this stuff. The cultural crimes, she's bang on. If we look at the UK, for example, we had 240 cases of forced marriages. You know, the honour abuse unit, as it's called. I can't believe we have that in the UK. You know, has seen an increase year on year on year of cases. This is happening on our streets and in the United Kingdom, and unfortunately, it's still ongoing. It's getting worse, and we're not doing anything about it because we're all too scared to say.
So, the problem. And also we have a government that is cravenly courting the Muslim vote. They're terrified to upset our Muslim community. I mean, one of the greatest disgraces of modern times, in my view, is that ever since last Thursday, when the horror at the synagogue in Manchester unfolded, not a single member of our cabinet, nor the Prime Minister, has actually said that this atrocity was carried out by a Muslim, by an Islamist terrorist. They never cease. They never tire of telling us, oh, this was an attack on Jews just because they were Jews. Yes, Keir, we know that. Who carried out the attack? Do you want to tell us that? Do you want to actually let your lips actually say it? It's a disgrace.
Yeah, I want to know how long it was before somebody in the cabinet said, who was it that did it? And I bet I'd love to see the face when they found out that it wasn't a far-right fascist or a thug.
Yeah, because they haven't said.
No, I find that astonishing.
They haven't,
I find it astonishing. You can't fix a problem if you're not brave enough to name it.
In discussing that horror at the synagogue, 2 people died. Our cabinet, our Prime Minister, our Home Secretary have never. So what are we now? What is it now? A week and 8 days on. To this day, none of them have said the words Muslim, Islam, Islamist or terrorist. They haven't said that word once. That's a disgrace. And look, my view is about religions, that people from different religions who live here, you know, be they Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Jews, you know, we should be a welcoming community, and they should be allowed to practice their cultures and follow their religion. But they must also integrate. You know, I had a call from a guy the other night, and he said, "Oh, well, I think you're being unfair about saying that Muslims ought to be able to speak English." So you know that out of our 4 million Jews, 22% of the Jews, out of our 4 million Muslims, there's only 282,000 Jews, by the way. Out of our 4 million Muslim residents, most of them citizens, many of them born here, 22% of the women can't speak English.
Yes.
They either speak very poor English or no English at all. 10% of the men, same deal, either no English at all or very poor English. I had a call from a guy the other night. He said, "Oh, I think you're being unfair." I said, "Well, I think it's important in terms of integration." And he goes on to reveal that his dad, God rest his soul, had died, lived here for 27 years, couldn't speak a word of English.
I find
that is, you know, nothing against his dad, and I'm sorry he's gone, but that is not right.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But this is why Melodia's been very smart about this. She's framing this around a women's rights issue as well, and it is to do with women's safety. It is to do with the fact that you can't communicate. And not only that, when you wear the outfit, the niqab and all the rest of it, you are removed from society. You can't see somebody's face. You can't communicate in any way if you're in a dangerous situation. And the way that she's framed it is very smart, but it's also just right.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't speak the language of the country that you're in, and you're being controlled, you're being harassed and abused and all the rest of it, you have no way out. Not really. And I think this is now, like I said, we're at this point now where we've got to start standing up for ourselves and values and the things that we're so proud of. Let's put some skin in the game, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, you know, follow in Tunisia's footsteps by banning the burqa for security reasons and also for cultural reasons. I don't like to see it. I hate seeing burqas. I hate seeing hijabs because for me, they reduce women to second-class citizens, subjugating women to men, to the will of men. That is, I don't want to see that. I don't think it's right. Listen, we better go to break. When we come back, well, you know, those pro-Palestinian anti-Semites, they're not going to let a little matter of peace in Gaza get in the way of their Jew hate. They're going to carry on marching. Of course they are. We hate Jews. We hate Jews. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about the ongoing migrant crisis, the one-in, one-out scheme, which is now... It's like a music hall joke now. It's so ridiculous. And still they come. They're pouring across at the moment. So the one-in, one-out scheme is not a deterrent. We'll talk about all that next. Stay tuned.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. I'm still with Pete Barnes. Pete, we've got quite a lot to get through in this little section and not much time to do it in. But I think it's pretty disgusting that the pro-Palestine anti-Semites, because that's what they are, these marches are mainly Jew hate. You know, they've literally, the last few, since synagogue atrocity,
the mask has come off.
Some of them have been carrying swastikas, for God's sake. You know, the mask has come off. These are anti-Semitic gatherings, outpourings of anti-Semitism. They vowed to carry on keeping on with their Jew hate marches. Well, now, let's have a look at. Here's an example of the type of people who aren't about to let a little matter like the Gaza peace deal get in the way of their Jew hate. So we'll play you that in a minute, but it pretty much sums
I mean,
it up.
It doesn't really surprise me, considering the fact that the Mayor of London has come out today and said, "From the river to the sea" is not an anti-Semitic chant.
It means annihilate Israel is what it means. It is an anti-Semitic chant. It's actually technically Meir Khan, if you'd like to know. It is actually against the law.
Yeah.
It is it's a jihad chant. It's against the law to chant from the river to the sea. It just is. From the river to the sea, free, free Palestine. Well, that means exterminate the Jews, exterminate the state of Israel, and that's one of the milder things they chant. You know, these are repulsive events, and also, I mean, let me know what you think about this, because I think I said all along, I don't agree with banning these marches. I don't agree with. I'm not a banner, and I believe free speech. You know, I don't like these marches, and let's be fair, most of them don't go around saying death to the Jews, carrying swastikas and things like that. So those that don't do that, don't overtly break the law with terrorist chants, you know, then I think that should go on. What I'd like to see, Pete, is the police policing them properly.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, definitely. But again, what's his name? Sir Mark Rowley said that you know, they're having a Nazi flag required context. I mean, in what world does that require context? It's clear anti-Semitism. It is astonishing to me. But one thing that annoyed me is the number of people that spend so much time saying, well, it's just a small minority. You know, they're spending so much time focusing on the majority who aren't breaking the law. I don't care about those people. I don't particularly like them, but I don't care about them. I care about the people that are chanting death to Jews.
Yes, and also it's not that small a minority.
Yeah,
it's quite significant. Yeah. Have a look at this lovely young lady.
I think freedom will be achieved when the Israelis go back to where they were born, which is probably America, Poland.
So you mean leaving the state of Israel? Is that what you mean? You don't believe in the state of Israel?
No, I don't.
You don't understand why Jewish students might feel uncomfortable by that on campus today?
No. I mean, I understand why they might feel like that, but I don't think that their feelings are valid.
Good Lord.
That's in London, by the way. That's an anti-Semite there. That's a Jew hater who hates Jews because they're Jews. That's what these marches are about. Too many of the people on these marches are there because they hate Jews. They're anti-Semites. And when in countries, when the Jewish community start to feel afraid, it means that the candle of freedom is going out. I give you Germany during the 1930s. We got to be very careful here, folks. Something sinister is going on. Little creeps like that girl. She thinks she's right. She thinks she's right. She thinks it's okay to just say Jews are sort of semi-humans who should be kicked around the world. It's very, very worrying. Let me know what you think about that. And finally, we're packing all this stuff in now. So I don't think the marches should be banned, but maybe you do. Let me know. 03444991000. My line on it is rather cowardly. It's that I believe in free speech, and therefore I believe these marches should be allowed. But if they were banned, I wouldn't lose a whole lot of sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same.
But moving on, kind of. Because what we're talking about here, generally speaking, is the way that we are letting more and more dangerous people into this country, illegally, legally. Jihad al-Shami came from a family. They came in 2006. His father, Faraj al-Shami, a surgeon who now lives in France, posted on October the 7th 2 years ago what a wonderful job Hamas had done. Fantastic, fantastic. In the name of Allah, fantastic. His Facebook page is one long spewing hate-filled page against Israel, doesn't like this country. We've got too many families like that around this country. Now, meanwhile, right now, our government is busy letting in Palestinians, people from Gaza, more and more. Our former colleague who worked here, of course, is now a big noise at the Reform UK party, Dr. David Bull. He recorded this.
Did you know the government is importing cohorts of people from Gaza? This is a fact they were celebrating this week. Now, if you look at Denmark's experience of doing exactly the same. 64% of those people who came went on to commit criminal offences. Similarly, 34% of their children also committed criminal offences. We need to learn from these experiences. We need to understand that these people have been indoctrinated by the terror group Hamas, and we must reject this.
So this is the problem, Pete. Dave is making a good point. I'm going to be very responsible here. The numbers in uncharacteristically.
I know, it's like, where am I?
I've changed. No, seriously, Denmark, the numbers are quite small. It's about 319. And to be fair, in terms of the people our government's letting in from Gaza right now, I also think the numbers are quite small. But the percentages of those 319, 64% went on to commit serious crimes, and then their children, 34% of them in Denmark committed serious crimes. Now, these people coming from Gaza are brainwashed by Hamas. They're brainwashed to hate the West. They are Islamist fundamentalists, and we're letting them in right now. Also, of course, they're coming across the channel in their droves. 1,075 on Wednesday. The one-in, one-out deterrent is a joke. We got the figures. The score so far since August the 6th, when the scheme was launched: 26 illegals returned to France by Britain, 18 dispatched from France back to the UK. This deterrent launched on August the 6th. Since then, 10,040 migrants have come across the channel illegally, and we also let loads of them in illegally. We don't know anything about these people, and what we saw last Thursday, it's going to happen more and more and more unless we have a government that starts to get real about this. Right?
Yeah, I'm looking at this in the same way I look at the grooming gangs. I want to know if schools are stepping up and reporting families where this is happening. You know, like we said, that these kids have been not only radicalised by Hamas, but their parents as well. Like you said, this guy, the doctor, you know, he's posting this stuff. You know, he's saying this stuff openly on Facebook, so he's saying it around the house, he's saying it in front of kids, and kids will start to believe it. And if we add proper integration policies, we can fight this. We can actually get in the game. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people are looking the other way because they don't want to be called Islamophobic or racist for saying that might be a bit of a problem.
This is getting real, folks, and we need to do something about it. And we have a government that won't do anything about it because they want the Muslim vote and they don't want to offend our Islamic community. It's getting serious. It's getting serious. Their policies are endangering the people of Britain, I think. Let me know what you think. 0344 499 1000. When we come back, we're going to move on to something completely different. We're going to have a laugh at the expense of Britain's new irritant, the Green Goblin, the Green Party leader Zach Polanski, real name David Paulden. So we'll have a look at Dave when we come back. Stay where you are.
The way to deal with it is quite simply to detain every single illegal immigrant securely behind wire until such time as we can return them to whence they came or they ask to go back. Now, that does require significant legal changes, but this government doesn't seem to want to be fair, neither did the previous, want to take those legal, do that legal amendment, withdraw from the ECHR and so on. They didn't want to do it. It was all too contentious for them.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. I'm still with political strategist Pete Barnes. Pete, let's talk about, if we must,
I was gonna say.
David Paulden. Zach Palensky, the leader of the Green Party, fast emerging as Britain's #1 irritant.
Yeah.
He went
it's a
on
tough
to
competition. That
he's a world beater. He really is annoying. He's now joined the ranks of those political idiots who say that women can have penises. He said to Piers Morgan, he said, the female is a gender. Well, you call it a gender if you like. It's also a sex. It's a biological fact. It's a scientific fact. No, the women can have a gender. Yeah, shut up, you bloody idiot. We've got a picture of him though with his twin brother. Check this out. There they are. Yeah, that's his twin brother Plug from the Beano. With David Palensky. So, have they ever been in the same room together? I don't think so. But anyway, he went on. Well, he's had a couple of annoying appearances this week. First of all, he was on the other day, last night, wasn't it? Question Time, where he had a big row with Zia Youssef. I'll show you a bit of that in a moment. But here he is talking to our friend Piers Morgan on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Can a woman have a penis?
Yes. It's going to take them a long time on the National Health Service to get rid of it, but that's another separate problem.
All right. I think we'll leave it on a woman can have a penis. People can
I think you're lacking nuance and complexity about a pretty complicated
Not really. You couldn't have been clearer.
I'm clear, because actually when you want to look at the science...
You were crystal clear. Ask a simple question.
But you're laughing at it, which I think demeans trans people.
Absolutely ridiculous.
What have you got against trans people? Why are you punching down? Why are you not saying
nothing against
the real
trans
problem
people?
in this
I've already
country?
told you that I think trans people...
You sound like you have a huge problem with trans people.
No. It sounds to me like you don't understand what a woman is, which I think is a huge problem for someone leading a party in this country.
A woman is a gender.
Sorry?
You said what's a woman?
No,
a woman is a gender.
Biological
and gender
female.
is complicated.
No.
Gender is a spectrum.
It's not complicated. A woman is a biological
gender a spectrum? Is it that binary?
Do you think people are born male and female?
Not necessarily.
Oh, for God's sake.
I think it's more complicated than
It's
that.
not more complicated, Zach.
Well, it's not more complicated than that if you're a TV show host who wants to make it binary and ridiculous.
Zach, you're going to have
but
to
actually,
work
if you
this
want to
stuff
have a
out,
nuanced conversation that actually reflects science
when I asked you if you
and
want to be
information...
when I asked you if you want to be Prime Minister, there is not a cat in hell's chance of you ever becoming Prime Minister if you don't know what a woman is. The UK Supreme Court has made it crystal clear
But that's
what a
not the
woman
Supreme Court's job. The Supreme Court's job is to look at legislation
Lay down the law
and
of
then
the
make a
land.
legal ruling.
OK. So you know more than the Supreme Court?
Well, yes, actually, in this case, yes, I do.
My God.
What a moron. What an idiot. I mean, actually, it is a joke that the Supreme Court took 5 years to finally come to the learned conclusion. 5 years they deliberated.
Top legal minds.
And finally they said, you know, what we've worked out is that if you're born like a woman, a female, then you're a woman. And if you're not, you're not. But Zach says it's nuanced. Gender is a spectrum. Female, it's not binary. It is binary, you absolute idiot. Aren't you sick of these people?
I'm so
what
bored
is he
of them.
talking about?
Yeah, I'm so bored of them. But can you not see the anger?
But you say it's bored. It is funny.
It is funny.
They
but
make such fools of themselves, falling over themselves to be left wing.
He's the perfect archetype of that angry left winger. The angry
Is that
woker.
like a joke, isn't it?
You're like, you really are just a stereotype or like a caricature of everything wrong. But we have to talk seriously about the Greens, though.
He's going to destroy the Greens. Him and Mothin Ali, his Islamist deputy.
Yeah, but that's the interesting factor in this, because now in London,
by the way,
more likely than the Labour Party to win.
Mothin Ali said of October the 7th, that with Hamas, everyone has a right to fight back. That's what he said. So Muhsin Ali is a very dubious character.
Yeah.
This is the guy that when he was elected to his ward in Leeds City Council went Allahu Akbar.
Yes, I do, yeah.
That's his deputy. Zach is the leader, and you know they're gonna destroy the Green Party.
Yeah.
Because he's not interested particularly in green issues. He wants to be Dave Spart of Private Eye, the caricature loony left winger.
He calls himself an eco-populist. Apparently, that's the brand he's going for. But potentially the Greens. It's still all volatile and the rest of it, but if you look in London, for example, they are 27% the first preference for younger voters. That's 7 points higher than the Labour Party. Yeah. So he'll probably blow them up. But if he's able to do anything, he could cause a big problem for the Labour Party more than anything else. But
all you got to do is Zach Polanski, David Paulden, is to keep repeating what he used to do for a living. That was con women into believing that he could enlarge their breasts through the power of hypnotism. That's what he used to do.
Oh my lord, I didn't know.
That's what he used to do.
Yeah, but the Green Party membership
on Harley Street. So women used to come in and say, "Look into my eyes, your boobs will grow." That's what he used to do.
Ah, it's astonishing. I actually didn't know that. That's absolutely astonishing.
Yeah. So when the Labour Party starts talking about Nigel Farage and reform being snake oil salesmen.
Yeah.
Zach Polanski really kind of was one.
Yeah.
By the way, maybe we'll get a chance to talk about your Tory conference. Did you go? Or
3 men.
Did you? So you
3 men and a goat. That was it.
So that makes 5 of you, right?
Yeah. We could get an Uber together.
Don't forget, it's Phone Kevin Pete after the 8 o'clock news. We're just taking your calls for the rest of the night all the way to 9 o'clock. Then it's my show, What Just Happened. So get on the blower, 0344499 1000. You can call us about anything you like, but mostly the issues we just talked about. See you right after the news.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back in 1 hour's time. It's my fabulous television show, What Just Happened. What just happened? That starts at 9 o'clock and that'll take you through to 10 o'clock. But for the next hour, 60 sizzling minutes, it's all down to you. We usually have a guest on now, but we thought, you know, it's been a big week, lots of big stories around. Some we just discussed in the last hour. Why don't we all talk about them? Just in case, what have I got here? I've just seen something. Oh, here you go. You'll like this.
Oh, here we go. Right. That means I won't. But
this is from Keith Osborne. What a brilliant asset Pete Barnes is to your show and all Talk TV shows. That's Oz from Hickman.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much. Usually when you set it up like that, it's another devastating insult.
Well, Oz, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, you know, he's all right. But no, he is a great asset to this show, of course. So when you phone up, you talk to me and Pete, we'll all talk. One story that we didn't discuss that you might want to get on the blower about, Nigel Farage's security. This guy who threatened to kill him with the Kalashnikov tattooed to his face has been done today, but it brings into sharp focus the security issues for a lot of prominent politicians, but particularly Nigel Farage, who I would say is probably one of the biggest targets, biggest risks out there security-wise, which begs the question, Pete, why is it that the former Deputy Prime Minister, the former Housing Secretary, who's had to resign in disgrace, Angela Rayner, because she told lies about her stamp duty and avoided paying stamp duty, why is it that she's... I mean, I accept... Look, backbenchers, by and large, ministers, shadow ministers, obviously require security. Backbenchers, by and large, don't, but some of them do because they're prominent, because they're controversial. I think it's quite right, the taxpayer pays for this, right? So Nigel Farage, I would say, is probably one of the biggest targets, as this case has proved. This maniac with a Kalashnikov tattooed onto his face, trying to kill him. He's been done today. Now, only 2 weeks ago, apparently, the committee, the government, if you like, reduced Nigel Farage's taxpayer-funded security by 75%. Meanwhile, we found out over last weekend, scandalously in my view, that the former Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, who does deserve security. She's frontline, or she's backbencher now, but she's prominent and she's controversial. So, you know, safety of these people is very important. She deserves security. But we found out that allegedly, it entails she's retained her her ministerial BMW. Why is that? Anyway, so why has she got a BMW, which is supposed to be good for her security, and she's also got security guards as well? Why has she got all of that? And I mean, I'm not against her having security guards. I am against her having a ministerial car. Yeah, that's an outrage. She doesn't. That she shouldn't have at all. You know, why has she got all that, and yet Nigel Farage has just had his security reduced by 75%? Let me know what you think about that. Let's go to the phones now, though. First call is from Ian in London. Hello, Ian. What would you like to say, mate?
Hello, Kevin. I love conspiracy theory.
Ah, yeah. Yes. And what is your conspiracy theory, Ian?
They all go back to a very good friend of yours, Tony Blair.
Oh, yeah, very close. Me and Tone, we're like that.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny? When he was in, he wanted the ID cards because he wants to control everything, correct? He was the one that was back.
Yeah, he tried to get them in the early noughties, but he was so shocked by the level of protest from British people who like their freedom, don't like the idea of a Papers, Please dystopia, that even he abandoned them. But he's never given up on the idea. That's why we've got them back, because he whispered in Keir's ear, and looks like they're coming our way. But you were saying it. Yeah.
Number two. Who wanted to get more people in from Eastern Europe to back up the Labour vote?
Expansion happened. Initially, it was Blair, yeah.
Tony Blair wanted to open the things to bolster the Labour vote, because he thought if he got them in, they'd always vote for Labour.
Yeah.
What's going on now? Again, who's not stopping all the immigration or the illegal immigration? Keir Starmer. But who's in the background to it all? Tony
well, yeah,
Blair.
Tony Blair's pulling a few strings. There's no doubt about that. Right. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Right. Who's the other one that was involved? Also he wanted him inside the little party. Mandelson,
yeah.
It goes back
this is Ian. No offence. This is a very poor conspiracy theory because it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to say. I was saying it because everybody always says to me, "Oh, you're talking out your bum. You don't."
No. Well, I don't know who you're speaking to, but you're speaking to us now. We know a little bit about what goes on in Westminster, particularly Pete. And what you're saying, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's not speculation. Tony Blair is still calling the shots, right, Pete?
Yeah, let's not forget Morgan McSweeney is Blair's guy. Jonathan Powell is Blair's guy.
Yeah.
Like, most of the apparatus that around Downing Street are Blairites.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Right?
Yeah, so go on, Ian.
With Angela Rayner. And the other one, there was an article, a news thing just before you had got the handover between Peter Caldwell and yourself, where the guy was sort of coming on and calling this one a racist and that one a racist.
Oh, well, that's also the union guy, yeah.
Yeah, because again, with these union guys, it's like ages ago, I went on another talk station, which I would never listen to again. There was a certain presenter on there, called me an idiot when I said that...
which show was was this on Talk?
No. Talk, as far as I'm concerned, are absolutely brilliant. I sent in a message to you, Peter. I think you're the greatest thing that's ever happened.
So were you phoning LBC?
I didn't want to say.
That lot. Yeah.
A certain mid-morning commentator.
Ian Dale, the most left-wing Tory who ever lived, should join the Communist Party. Forget the Conservatives. But go on. Sorry.
Right?
Yeah.
A mid-morning commentator who called
Oh,
me
not James O'Brien. Oh, God.
Right, call me an idiot as a Jewish person.
That's nice. That's polite, isn't it? Some member of your audience rings up and you call them an idiot.
Yeah, call me an idiot because I said that Jeremy Corbyn was an anti-Semite.
Perish the thought, Ian. I mean whatever gave you that idea?
I mean, that's a hate crime, right there.
But it was so... But it's all these sort of ones, they want everything for themselves. They want it all for themselves.
Well, they want to rule the roost. That's Keir Starmer is. That's why he's lowered the voting age, or is going to 16, because he thinks all these 16-year-olds are going to vote Labour. But of course, he's got such a bad political antenna that he hasn't noticed that Britain, that the youth of Britain aren't like they used to be when he was young, and indeed when I was young. When I was young, you could guarantee by the way, that's a long time ago. But you could guarantee that every 16-year-old and every 17-year-old would vote communist if they got a chance. They were all extremely left-wing. What Keir Starmer and his dumb failure to recognise what's going on has made the mistake of is he doesn't realise that a lot of young people, 16 and 17-year-olds, are basically reform supporters. They're much more... young people now are much more right-wing than they used to be. However, in Starmer's mind, he's brought that law in to try and shore up the Labour vote and make sure the Tories can never get in again.
One person.
Yeah.
You missed out one other person.
Who?
Who else is the dark person in the background still? Lord Ali.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He just
See, my big thing...
He's an old... Wahid Ali's an old friend of mine. Basically, he gives clothes to them. He likes to think he's a facilitator. I wouldn't worry about him too much. Trust me, I know him.
It was always interesting with him because it's always, if you're giving that amount away, the question was always, well, what are you getting back? I don't think he cared about what he was getting back. I think he just wanted to be seen as the person giving this stuff away. I think that's what it was.
Wahid likes to be in the thick of it. He likes to be seen as moving with the movers and shakers, as if he's. But I don't think he's not in the league of Tony Blair and Mandelson and indeed Morgan McSweeney, Jonathan Powell. These are the people you want to worry about. But you're right, Ian. Really good call. But as I say, stop saying that that's a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. That's Ian in London. Let's take the next call, shall we? Quite liking this. Call Kev and Pete. 0344 499 1000. By the way, before we do take the next call, just the details on the Farage story. This is an Afghan migrant. His name is Fayaz Khan. Remember, he posted that TikTok video of him coming across the channel, said he was going to shoot the Reform UK leader, Nigel Farage, when he reached Britain in his small boat. After arriving, he was charged with making a threat to kill Mr Farage between October the 12th and the 15th last year. Southern Crown Court heard previously that on October the 12th, Mr Farage uploaded that video and it was entitled The Journey of an Illegal Migrant. Anyway, he's been done now, but it does bring into... he's been found guilty of threatening to kill Nigel Farage. I'm not sure. I don't think we know the sentence yet. But,
no, I think he's going in for sentencing.
But I assume he's probably held in custody anyway. He's probably been in custody. But it does bring into sharp focus the fact that people like Farage, we have to be careful. You know, they deserve security, and the Reform UK party are really disconcerted that for some reason the parliamentary committee that deals with security for MPs and politicians has reduced his security by 75%, and yet we know old Angela, her security up to there. She's got so much security, they've let her keep her ministerial BMW. She's costing us £1,000 a day for her car and her security guards. You know, the car she shouldn't have. I don't mind the security guards because, you know, safety is important. You know, Angela Rayner, Nigel Farage, these people were quite... Why have they taken 3/4 of it away from Nigel Farage, do you think? 03444 991 1000. Let's go to James in London. Hello, James.
Hi, Kevin. Kevin, I just like to say, you were talking about how basically the government and the cabinet and the Prime Minister has just basically washed their hands of what happened in the synagogue on Yom Kippur. My question to you, Kevin, is where was our king? Where was our queen? Where was the Prince and Princess of Wales? Why haven't they gone up to Manchester? Why haven't they spoken to the victims? Why haven't they assured the Jewish community? Because isn't the king of all religions? Is that what he wants to be? Because
well, he says he wants to be the king of all faiths. I don't want him to be that. I want him to be the leader of our national faith, which is the Church of England, the Anglican faith. I don't want him to be the king of all faiths. He likes to say that's what he is. But you're right, he didn't exactly show it after the synagogue horror, did he? It's a good question. I mean, but by the way, about the Starmer and the cabinet, I'm not saying they've washed their hands of the whole affair. They've made lots of statements, but they're just platitudes about this was an attack on Jews just because they're Jews. Yeah. Thanks, Keir. We know that. Who committed the attack? Who carried it out? Would you say, please, would you for the first time say it was a Muslim maniac, an Islamist terrorist? That's what they won't say, James.
No, and what it would have been, what it would have hit the note, is if our king had actually come out and actually said, there is no room in my kingdom for Islamist terror on the streets of Britain. But no,
I suppose.
Family.
I'll be honest with you, I don't take a whole lot of notice about what the king says.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
No,
I mean, he's always going on about saving the planet and all that green claptrap. I mean, he's an old Lib Dem, basically.
Yeah, it's the definition of an Ed Davis speech.
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose so. He's just a sort of amiable old duffer, really, isn't he? Not much more than that.
It's like, nurse, he's out of bed again. That kind of situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say...
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle missed a number then. If they had gone up to Manchester, they could have stole the march on him.
Good, yeah, well, I mean, hasn't Manchester suffered enough?
I could say they've been through everything.
We don't want Harry and Meghan going there. But I think you've got a good point, James. I am slightly surprised that there hasn't been a royal visit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, because there are survivors still in hospital. There was a security guard that was slaughtered on the streets of Great Britain, and they can't be bothered to even turn up.
And in fairness, Starmer went up there. David Lammy went up there and caught a lot of flack.
I'm going to say.
Even though he had a hiding, yes, he went up.
Yeah, but they did go up there, to be fair. But that is an interesting point. You might have thought that the king might have gone up.
It is
William,
a very fair point.
Yeah.
But
I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah, my thing with what you're saying, Kev, about the Labour Party, the cabinet, is actually they're rather coy when they're kind of taking accountability for their role in actually priming the environment for this to happen. You can't allow hate marches and all of this stuff to happen and then be shocked that an attack comes along. When you allow this stuff, just a little bit, something horrific is at the end of the road. And this could have all been hedged off if the Labour Party would say what the problem is. They're not brave enough to do it.
Yeah, I think it's an absolute scandal that we have a cabinet and a prime minister that are so cowardly. They won't say who carried out the synagogue horror. It was an Islamist terrorist. It was a Muslim maniac. That's who it was, who did attack that synagogue because he hated Jews. And he was called Jihad, for God's sake. I mean, it's just, you couldn't make it up. You really couldn't.
There is another element to it as well, that they're actually going to try and silence you for saying this because of the Islamophobia.
Yeah,
they're going to make it impossible to fix the problem. That's what's more concerning.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't we have a legal definition for anti-Semitism?
Oh yeah, do you remember when the Labour Party tried to do that and they tear themselves apart?
Yeah.
They're desperate for this one.
No, they're enthralled to the Islam community because they want the Muslim vote at the next election. They think they're going to need that if they're going to stand any chance of winning. Anyway. And the irony, Pete, is that they're losing the Muslim vote.
Yeah.
The Muslim vote will probably go to old granddad, magic granddad, Jeremy Corbyn, and that weird sidekick, that loony Zara Sultana. That's where the Muslim vote's going.
Yeah, definitely. Or it'll be even worse, and they'll set up their own political party, and then we have a bigger problem in our hands.
That's sort of already happening.
Yes,
there's quite a few independent Islamic, there are loads of there's the 7 MPs, I think, who are there specifically to support Gaza.
Yeah.
They were elected to the British Parliament on a Gazan ticket. That's what we've got to worry about. James, a good point about the King, though. Good point about the royal family. Thank you for ringing. James in London. Let's go to break. When we come back, got lots of calls. Get on the blower. We might be able to fit you in. 0344499 1000. Let's talk. It's good to talk on Talk. Stick around. The original translated from Arabic is "From water to water, Palestine is Arab." It's not very catchy, is it?
Not really, no.
It's not very catchy. I don't think that's particularly toned down either.
It's the same thing.
That's the same thing. I know, From the river to the sea is much better. Most people who chant it couldn't tell you what river they're talking about or what sea they're talking about. But of course, you go from Jordan to the Mediterranean. In the middle of that, it's Israel. And they go, from the river to the sea, when will Palestine be free? Free, free Palestine. That is a genocidal chant, as Greg quite rightly says, but I don't think much. I don't think from water to water, Palestine is Arab is any sort of particularly stronger. It's not really as good as from the river to the sea.
No, not at all, actually, no.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, some of these charts just as you know, in terms of tone and poems, I quite like them. You know, from the river to the sea, when will Palestine be free? I don't agree with it, but it's quite a nice chant.
Yeah, I actually admit it's somewhat similar to some of the clever football chants and things
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
it's exactly what I was going to say. So what's the other one? Say it loud, say it clear. Refugees are welcome here.
Yeah. You're like, there's some thought gone into it.
I mean, you know, on a purely linguistic level, you know, death to the IDF. It had a ring to it. But of course, you know, the messages are disgusting. They're anti-Semitic death chants. That's what they are. They're revolting. They're against the law. Do you remember when these marches, these huge marches, which aren't going to stop, these Jew hate marches started, and they're all going, I know, because I went to see them. I went to see the first three, and they were all going, jihad, jihad. They've all got these jihad signs. And people say, well, that means slaughter Jews. That's against the law. That is calling for the death of Jews. And the Metropolitan Police said, oh, well, we've looked into this, and it can actually mean a call to spiritual reflection. So as if these people are going for this streets in London, it's time for spiritual reflection. Spiritual reflection. Yeah, my backside. Yeah, really unbelievable. The police going to the ends of the earth, not to prosecute people.
This is why I hold these groups and these individuals responsible for what has actually happened. You know, they may not have been the one with the knife, but they didn't half-hand it to him. Because when you excuse behaviour and you kind of explain it away, you academic it away, you're taking away the actual meanings and what these people actually say. And that's a very dangerous thing to do, as we have seen.
Yeah, indeed it is. Listen, it's cool, Kev and Pete, so get on the blower. Let us know what you think. I'll tell you what we're going to talk about in a little while. I'd like to hear what you think about what Giorgia Meloni is about to do there. She's introducing a bill into the Italian Parliament, so it will become law soon, that women caught wearing face masks, burqas and hijab, you know, face coverings will be fined €3,000. Also, people involved in forced marriages or virginity testing could face up to 10 years in jail, and the state is going to demand that all mosques and Islamic education centres reveal exactly where all their funding is coming from. You know, this isn't the first country to ban the burqa. France, Switzerland, in Europe, Tunisia, various Muslim countries have banned it as well. Don't you think we should do that? 03444991000. Giorgia Meloni says, unless we do this, we will allow Islamist fundamentalism to rise, and that will result in terrorism. Given what happened here last Thursday, don't you think we should follow Italy? Don't you think we should do this for the safety of the people of this country? 03444991000. Let's talk to Rick in Dorset. Hello, Rick.
Good evening, Kevin and Peter.
Hello, mate. You used to live in the Middle East, yep?
Sorry?
You used to live in the Middle East, yeah?
I did for 10 years. I was working out there for as a consultant for the MOD.
Which part, Rick?
Which part of what?
All the Middle East.
So Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi.
Okay.
UAE.
Okay. So you know the region, you know the culture.
Yeah. So I speak fluent Arabic and Rusi. I speak.
Don't do that tonight because we won't understand you. If you want to, I'd head up to Rochester or Rotherham or somewhere like that. You'll be fully understood there.
I don't have a visa.
The light of the night.
Yeah. So what were you going to say, mate? Yeah, go on, Rick. Yeah.
So firstly, I have to state this, and this is really, really serious. I have no religion. I've never followed a religion. I never will. Okay, so I'm not a hypocrite. And the reason why I say that is that if roughly the population of the UK is 68 million, and you're saying there's 4 million Muslims, so that equates to about 17% in my calculation.
Yeah.
Now, when you're working in an Islamic country,
is it 17%? I don't think that's 17. That's not 17%.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Get your calculator out. 68.
It's not 7. That's not 7.
4 million.
4 million.
7%.
It's a significant number, but I don't think that's 17%, is it? Hang on.
I'm chat GPT.
It's 6%.
6%. I could say I've always worked off the bit. It's 6.5% apparently, according to the last.
Yeah, I think I've heard this before. 7%
yeah,
now.
7%.
So Rick, you're a talented linguist, but you're like me. You're not much good at maths. But I take there's still a significant proportion of our population. So what is it you want to say?
In the Arab nations, right, okay, any other religion, i.e., Sikh, Hinduism, or Christianity, right, is the minority in those countries, as we know.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So, at the end of the day, obviously they're not a democratic society. It's all the older Bedouin tribes and everything else. And that's how they all came about.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, when someone commits a crime over there in those countries, right, you're treated the same, whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or a Hindu. Right, now, why is it different in this country? 17% or whatever it is.
It's not 17. let's get past 17%.
Okay, or a small percentage. Right. Okay, so Keir Starmer, Mr. Keir Starmer, because I don't recognise his sir or his knighthood.
Yeah, me too.
At the end of the day, why is he balancing it out just for a minority for his votes?
Well, yeah, you answer the question,
but there is
in
also
your point.
A very important point.
He wants the vote.
That 7% turn out to vote.
7%.
They actually vote. That's the big difference.
Yeah, it's. I've looked it up. It's the last census 2021. There were approximately 4 million Muslims, and that represented 6.5% of the population of England and Wales.
Okay, well, so a very small percentage.
Well, I think it's quite significant.
Yeah, but this is the point. That small percentage actually carry huge political influence because they regularly vote.
Yeah.
Unlike the other minorities or the vast majority who don't in the same percentages. That's why they get so much attention. Is because they mobilise and they're very good at mobilising a voter base.
Yeah,
why have we got? Okay,
they're very keen on postal votes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while we've got the most recognised capital city in any country, and we have a Muslim mayor, who's anti, the majority Christian society that this country is. And the reason why I say this is because, remember, I am not of any religion.
No, I'm not saying. I mean, I got to, it's far be it from me to stand up to for Sadiq Khan. I can't stand Sadiq Khan, but I think it's a little unfair to say he's anti-Christian.
Well, you have to say that because you obviously represent.
Well, no, because I don't think there's any particular. Look, I've got a lot of issues with Sadiq Khan. I don't think there's any real evidence to suggest he's anti-Christian.
Well,
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm just saying. I'm just.
Well, it's free speech for the next couple of weeks. Yes, I will say it.
Well, I'm afforded it
until they make that illegal. Yeah.
Now, you've moved on so far because obviously I've been on hold for a long time.
Yeah.
And going back to my friend Nigel, obviously I will admit that I am a reform. Obviously,
nothing wrong with that, Rick. More and more people are.
Yeah.
And I am a donor, and I think it's absolutely hideous what's happening to him. And I'm glad that it just so happens that the surname of the guy who's just been committed is called Khan as well. Lovely, fantastic. Not a coincidence by any chance. And also, I will say on television that if you want to pass my number on to any Jewish community, that I know I'm retired. I retired 4 years ago. I have an armoured car, and if anyone wants to take me up to take their children to school, or anything else. Okay,
well, that's good. I mean, that's a very kind offer. But can I?
I will do that. I will do that for free.
What's a kind offer, Rick? But can I ask you, why the hell have you got an armoured car?
Yeah, you got to say that.
Well, because I brought it back with me.
Ah, that makes sense. How long have you been back, mate?
I retired 5 years ago.
Okay.
I had my birthday yesterday, so I'm older than you.
Happy birthday for yesterday. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Can I just ask you what before you go, because you'll be knowledgeable about this. With your knowledge of the cultural and the political tensions in that region, what are your thoughts about the peace deal? I think it's pretty fragile, don't you?
Incredibly fragile, and if you ask me now, as I'm sitting here, I don't think it's going to last. I like Trump for helping out, and obviously no one else did. But you're dealing with terrorists, and terrorists do not obey the law of any land. That's why it's called terrorism. They create terror.
I think, I mean, you know, we've all got our fingers crossed. We want to be optimistic, but I think realism should also be a factor. And realistically, we're dealing, as you say, we're dealing with thugs. We're dealing with mad rapists, murderers. That's Hamas for you. And, you know, just dealing with people like that is very unstable. Interesting, Rick. Thank you very much. And a very kind offer for your armoured car to help people out. Maybe I could use it coming to work. You know, I get a lot of death threats. How about that?
I've had a couple along the way.
All right, Rick. Take care, mate. Good call. Thank you very much. Let's go to break. We've got lots more calls. Get on the line, though. We might better get you in. We certainly will try. 03444991000. When we come back, Herbie in Harrow. Stay where you are, Herbie. We'll talk to you next. Welcome back. We'll go to Herbie in just a second. I got this from Anthony. He says, hi, Talk. If the Peace Prize was maybe in a few months' time, maybe Trump would have won it. But right now, peace isn't achieved. Apart from the IDF moving back, nothing has happened. Hamas won't disarm, and this will continue. Hope the hostages are returned before it all kicks off again. Just my opinion. The thing is, Anthony, you know, they're sort of saying, oh, well, yeah, you know, if it'd just been beyond Sunday, we could... Look, you say Trump hasn't got the award because peace has not been achieved. Well, that person whose name I've completely forgotten, Maria whatever her name is, Maria Meccano. It's a good. Do you remember
Meccano? Not Meccano.
Yeah, I know. I said that on purpose.
All right, just checking.
Do you remember Meccano?
Yeah, just about.
Just to screw it together. Yeah. Anyway, Maria Meccano, she hasn't achieved democracy. So, you know, that doesn't wash. Yeah. You know, she just sort of screams and shouts, but she's a long way from achieving democracy. So it's not about actually achievement. And I would suggest that Trump's achievements in getting us this far with peace in Gaza is far greater than what she's achieved. She's achieved nothing except screaming and shouting and being, you know, a big noise in the opposition. So, hey-ho. But let's go to Herbie in Harrow. Hi, Herbie.
Good evening, Kevin. I'm still waiting for that phone call you promised me either last week or the week before.
Oh, blimey. What did I... Sorry. The first thing you've got to realise about me, Herbie, is you can rely on my unreliability.
Oh, yeah. Certainly. You're like the Prime Minister, aren't you?
Right, I'm going to cut you off, mate. I'm going to cut you off. What do you want to say, mate?
Oh, listen, the country's doomed, absolutely doomed, because we've got leaders of the political parties that are snowflakes, absolutely gormless, twats, whatever you want to call them. They've got no idea how to run the country now to get older people to keep them.
Family show, Herbie, remember that.
You know, absolute idiots, you know, absolutely, you know, are buffoons, crazy, including...
Well, look, I mean, to be serious about this, what we saw last Thursday, this, you know, Islamist terrorism and attack on...
terrible.
We've got rising tensions, we've got anti-Semitism is going through the roof, we've got immigration policies that are essentially non-existent. Our borders are pretty much open, both illegal and legal migrants pouring into the country about whom we know nothing. We have an alarming lack of integration between our Islamic communities and the rest of us, and we have a government doing nothing about any of that. And you're right, Herbie, it is extremely alarming. Am I right, Pete?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. But what really annoys me, particularly when it comes to the Manchester attack last week, is they kept linking it to October 7th. The rise in anti-Semitism has been happening like quite significantly before that event. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, that turned the volume up to 11, but it's been a very steady increase for a very long time. So this idea that it's all to do with what's happening in Gaza is incorrect. Yeah. And it annoyed me no end that people just keep automatically going to that point. This has been a problem because of the migrant crisis, because we've not been good on integration. You know, that these issues have been in the background and now they're very much in the foreground.
Yeah, and also, Herbie, you know, it's sort of been pushed to the back now, but we should never forget that over the last couple of months, culminating in Keir Starmer doing it about 3 weeks ago, France, Canada and Britain have recognised Palestine. Now, talk to any member of our Jewish community, prominent members of our Jewish community. Jake Wallace-Simon was in this studio this time last week. They all say that Britain recognising Palestine emboldened people like Jihad al-Shami, and it enabled that terrorist attack. And so to hell with Keir Starmer, Mark Carney and Emmanuel Macron for recognising Palestine and inflaming the situation both in the Middle East and here.
Well, Kevin, this is the whole problem. You can see these buffoons and idiots that are running the countries, like they are making the problem bigger by doing what they're doing. They haven't got an ounce in their brain of what to do to solve a problem or stop creating a problem. They're making the problems worse, they're making the problems bigger, and they're making it so we all suffer because they really do not know what to do. They do not know how to handle a situation. They are completely out of control themselves. They've really got no idea, none of them.
Yeah, and they're also, Starmer, I don't know what the situation is in Canada with Carney. I suspect Carney recognised Palestine because he's an inveterate virtue signaller. But Starmer recognised Palestine because he's trying to get the Muslim vote. That is absolutely disgusting. And also Macron recognised Palestine because he has a real problem with his Muslim community as well. So you got two leaders there who did it for craven domestic personal reasons and inflamed that already dangerous situation in the Middle East and frankly made both France and Britain less safe. Outrageous.
Totally, absolutely, totally. Kevin, the problem is that, as we said before, the country is completely out of control. It's uncontrollable, to be honest. It's lawlessness now, and it's becoming worse. You know, I'm afraid that I call it the nickel elastic. When it breaks, it won't be a pretty sight. But the nickel elastic's broken, and it's not a pretty sight, I can assure you.
I'm not sure. You know. I'm not sure I love your analogy, but I take your point, Herbie.
Family show.
Yeah, it's a family show. Listen, Herbie, mate, it's always good to talk to you. Thanks very much for a very good call, as always. Herbie and Harrow there, I
cannot stress that recognition of Palestine was craven, and it made us all complicit in terror. That's what Keir Starmer did. He made this nation complicit in terrorism. I mean, Hamas said it was one of the fruits of October 7th. Yeah. When the terrorists say thank you, maybe you did the wrong thing.
They actually said, after we recognised, after Starmer recognised Palestine, we'd won.
Yeah.
And he gave them what they wanted, so make no mistake about it, he rewarded terrorism. I mean, and not just terrorism. He rewarded October the 7th. And that's disgusting. But he did it for domestic reasons, which is even more disgusting. You know, has the man no shame? Has he no sense of decency? Talks about, oh, yeah, we recognise Palestine because it's the moral thing to do. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, what do you think we were? Born yesterday. Pull the other one. He's got bells on it, Starmer.
And again, it's Jonathan Powell's fingerprints all over it. That man, I tell you now.
It's for votes. It's for votes. It's for simple as that. Disgusting. Chris in Hereford, stay where you are. We'll talk to you after this break. Stick around.
Now, that does require significant legal changes, but this government doesn't seem to want to be fair, neither did the previous, want to take those legal, do that legal amendment, withdraw from the ECHR and so on. They didn't want to do it. It was all too contentious for them.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back to Call Kev and Pete. It's our new section.
Let's not encourage the
kind of smashy and nice. Yeah, we're on the phone to answer all your questions. Give us a ring. 03444991000. No, I'm really enjoying this though.
Yeah,
we haven't done this. It's working well. A couple of messages I'm going to read out. This is from Brian. I probably shouldn't read this. It made me laugh. Our Prime Minister Tutia Keir is the man who thinks a woman can have a penis. Well, I'm the man that thinks a woman can have a pair of balls, as we said with the late great Margaret Thatcher, as we saw with her, and the current Italian PM Giorgia Meloni in banning the burqa, a pair of balls that clearly Starmer does not have, which begs the question, what has he got in his trousers? Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have read that, but it made me laugh. And a quick one from John in Lincolnshire. He says, the establishment just hate Trump because he doesn't play their game. This is about the 8th or 9th conflict he's stopped since his second term, but the blob would rather give it to someone no one knows what they've done or who they are. Sheer spite from spoilt brats. Yep, that's the Nobel Prize mob for you.
Yeah, can I just say on this, a lot of people are saying, well, the nominations had to be in January. I can guarantee you that if this was some kind of left-winger, they'd have made the exception. They're willing to bend the rules.
That isn't look, they could have given it to Trump.
Yeah.
Of course they could.
He'd also apparently been nominated by Netanyahu because he told him he did.
Yeah. And by the way, as John from Lincolnshire pointed out, you know, this isn't the first piece he's achieved. It's the biggest one, but it's not the first. So, you know, he deserved this. But, you know, he's right wing, so they're not going to give it to him. Let's quickly talk to Jason in Sheffield, who wants to talk about the burqa. Jason, we should ban it, shouldn't we?
Well, you can ban it.
Yeah.
There is a bit of a slight issue with it, to be honest.
Why?
Well, the thing is, the burqa is imposed on these women by the husbands and the men.
Well, we know that. We know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you ban the burqa, those men won't let that woman out of the house.
This is a very good point. And
That's an interesting point, Jason.
This is exactly what has happened in France, and it's happened in Austria as well. This is an excellent point, because what's happened is that the banning of it has become a rallying point for Islamic nationalism. It's actually made moderates more extreme.
Well, nothing,
or it's legitimised.
Yeah, but my view
voice.
is nothing's perfect, and we should ban it.
Yeah,
we should ban it.
This is such a good point that's raised, and
it
is my concern.
But it won't be. But it won't be all. It'll be a few of them.
Yeah.
You know, if we ban the burqa, it will stop.
Yeah.
You know, you're right, Jason. It's a good point. You get some extremists to say, right, my wife will never leave the house, but it won't be all of them, and it's little steps, and the next generation won't even think about the burqa. The important thing to remember is there's quite a few Muslim countries ban the burqa.
Yes.
There's several other countries in Europe have already done it, and if you don't ban it, you are fostering an atmosphere, a cultural atmosphere that leads to fundamentalism and then leads to terrorism. That's what it's all about.
You have to deal with a culture that forces these women to wear it in the first place.
Well, yes, you do.
It's not in British law that you have to wear a burqa.
I know, but what we're suggesting is it should be in British law that you can't wear a burqa.
Yeah, but you have to deal with the people who are forcing it on them in the first place, don't you?
Well, no. We can pass a law saying the burqa is banned, like they did in France, like they did in Switzerland, like they did in Tunisia, like they're going to in Italy. We should do that, in my view.
But you'd also have to ban entrapment of women by their husbands.
Well, no. You're talking about an offshoot, a problematical offshoot. You don't not pass this law because some loonies will then say, my wife never leaves the house. That's just an offshoot problem. Yeah. I agree with you, it's an issue, but that should not stop us banning the burqa in a month of Sundays, if you ask me.
No, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. But what I'm saying is, there is. I live in Sheffield, okay, and Rotherham.
Do you know the Pakistan Muslim Centre in Sheffield?
I have passed it a few times.
So you did.
I lived in Sheffield.
Why is it called that? Why is it called the Sheffield Muslim Centre?
I don't know, to be honest.
Well, I do. But anyway, I take your point, Jason. But you know, there's always offshoot problems from everything. But centrally, if we banned the burqa, it would be a great news for all the women, Muslim women who have to play second fiddle to their husbands, and most husbands would not take that extreme step of banning their wives from going out, so it would be a good thing to do. But you're right to point out there will be issues with it. Jason, thanks, good call. Jason in Sheffield there. Let's go to Chris in Hereford. We haven't got long to go, we've got about 5 minutes. By the way, at 10 o'clock after my show, What Just Happened, that's on after the 9 o'clock news. Don't miss it. It's absolute must-see entertaining television. That's entertainment, that's what I like to say. At 10 o'clock, Andre Walker and Ash Gould take over the helm of the good ship. Talk, they'll take you through to 1 a.m. You have been warned. Right, let's talk to Chris in Hereford. Chris, you want to talk about David Polden? Sorry, Zach Polanski.
Yeah, Zach Polanski, or whatever his name is, to be honest.
Yeah.
I watched Pierce's interview and question. It was an absolute car crash, I thought.
Well, it wasn't question time. Piers talked to him on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I do apologise.
Yeah,
but I watched it and I just chuckled to myself. Well, he's a leader.
I think he is a car crash. I think he's an ongoing car crash. He's like a caricature cartoon lefty. He's just a joke.
As I said, I live in a constituency that has a Green MP. And she actually ran for the leadership, and she actually lost to Zach Polanski. I don't know how that happened.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah,
for a moment.
she'll take a long time to recover from that.
Yeah.
I think I'd be the one changing my name.
That's a self-esteem catastrophe, isn't it?
I think so.
But the thing about Polanski is, let's be serious for a second. I don't agree with the Green Party, but I've always had a kind of a soft spot for them, bunch of sort of people with beards and glasses. And as for the men, but seriously...
Well, you don't know if it's a man these days.
But they believe in their cause. They want to save the planet, and they're all a bit nuts and everything. But they're harmless people dedicated to their beliefs. Well, they've been taken over now by this sort of Islamist guy, Alu Akbar Mohsin Ali, and Zach Polanski, who doesn't seem to... He doesn't really talk about green issues much. He just talks about extreme left-wing cobblers. So the party has been hijacked by people who are diverting from the central cause, the central raison d'etre of the Greens, right?
Yeah, I've got to say, Caroline Lucas must be infuriated because she was a dedicated environmentalist. I can't stand the woman, but
I agree with you.
She was she stood for green principles. This guy just stands for whatever seems to be
integrity.
She did. Yeah. I completely think she's wrong, but at least she stood for something.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's what I'm talking about. That the sort of the dedicated belief of these people, their heartfelt beliefs, have been hijacked, or their party has been hijacked by a guy, who just wants to grandstand with his stupid student Dave Sparks style left-wing claptrap. So I agree with you, Chris. Good call, Chris. Thank you very much, Chris there in Hereford. And the very last call, I think it probably will be Susan in Scotland. Hello, Susan. You want to talk about the burqa? What would you like to say?
Hello, Kevin.
Hi.
Yes. I actually feel that we should actually ban the burqa. And I also
Agreed.
feel that
The people in this country are second-class citizens. I'm very concerned about this Islamophobia law because if you look at all the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs, which there were Pakistani Muslim rape gangs that raped all those young children. Everybody let them down, you know, from
Muslim men of Pakistani heritage, I think we're going to be saying,
to MPs, to school teachers, to police, to social workers. And it was all swept under the carpet. It was allowed to happen. You're not allowed to basically speak out or say how you feel because you're Islamophobia.
Well,
if you look at all the terrorist attacks that's happened in this country,
they're nearly all Islamist, aren't they?
It is Islam. It's Islam, you know. And I agree with the Italian president. I think that she's quite right, and I do think we need to keep an eye on them all. Because to be quite honest,
you're right. The hate preaching goes on all the time.
If you look at that preacher down in London years ago, he was preaching, cut everybody's heads off and things like that. He was being absolutely barbaric.
Well, there's a lot of hate preaching goes on. Here's the problem, Susan. This is what I don't like about the burqa. It reduces women to second-class citizens. It's a